Welcome to another 7¼ inch gauge video, and that's going to be another progress video of my new electric loco. And yeah, that's going to be another paint video. I think last time I said I'm not going to do another paint video because well, it's not that interesting going through the same stuff again with different colors and stuff. But well, here we go again. I did this because, well, this time I didn't forget to bring the camera when I was doing something to actually record some footage. And I again learned something new about painting. Since I'm painting so infrequently, I always forget how I need to do that, how I need to use the spray gun. And there's always something that I mess up. So today I learned from my past mistakes and I found some new mistakes, which I'm going to talk about later. So what I'm doing here is I'm painting two main parts now, or actually three, the two bogie frames and also the main frame, which has been painted from the underside, but now I flipped it over and I painted from the top, which has been painted somewhat. I was just, spraying it from below, but it needed a proper coat. So I found these really thick wires, and these are used to like the guide wires on the top of the chain link fence. And I thought they are going to be fast enough to hold the bogies. I haven't measured them, that it's probably like 15 kilos, so I didn't want to use any smaller gauge wires. And this is stiff enough that I could make just a simple loop, not even a knot, just a simple loop of the wire, and I fed it through all these holes that I have in the end, and so it doesn't, fall out. And yeah, that worked out great. And the way I'm going to paint this, and the way I'm painting a lot of my other parts, is we have a swing that I built. Well, it's a commercial product, so I assembled for the kids, and now the kids are, quite big now, like 11 and 8 years old, so obviously they don't use the swing, and I want to take it down, but my wife said no, we should leave it because they might use it, and then the swing should be there. And I just said, like, whatever, they haven't used it for probably like 2 years. But guess what the swing is good for? It's good for painting stuff. So I had the actual swings pushed to the side, as you can see here, and I'm using the hooks or the eyelets for the swings to attach, or well, basically hang anything that I want to paint on. And doing small things is not really good because the spray gun is just going to just spray them away, but these are really heavy parts, so I think these are ideal for spray painting like this. So as you can see, I'm just holding these the bogies, and I just looping that really thick wire through those hooks. And yeah, I'm not even doing a knot on anything like that, so I'm just doing like sort of like a 380 band on the wire, and that seems to hold it just fine. Now I learned the the mixing technique that I should really use thinners to thin the paint. So I just use this tape method to create some sort of funnel so the paint doesn't drip on the side of the can. And next time I should remember that I actually should do this before I put the gloves on, because the glove sticks to this masking tape like mad. So I was making all sorts of mess. But anyway, I put the black paint in and I added the thinner and I mixed it in thoroughly, and I started painting. And then everything was going, quite well in the beginning. I had to be a little bit patient just to get the correct mixture and make sure that the spray gun is filled and I have a consistent flow of paint. And because it was thoroughly thinned, I think there was a lot of there was an awful lot of spray, which was probably just a thinner, not so much a paint. It was creating a cloud, but then there was a little bit of breeze in the garden, so it was just fine. And I got a comment on the last video that I wasn't wearing a protection. About this time I managed to find this really crappy mask, just the most basic paper mask that you can just find. which I think I must have purchased a couple of years ago because it was dusty and the band wasn't working. So next time when I need to get some paint, I definitely going to buy some proper mask. Well, get another mask. But actually I was wearing the mask and I was painting and everything was working fine, especially on the bogies. And I was getting really good spray from the gun. And actually I think it's probably a little bit too much, because I managed to get the paint to run on the side of the bogies. Of course, this whole setup is not ideal because especially when I'm painting the sides that are close to the end of the swing, I really have to paint really close. So then, you know, too much paint gets into a small area and I can't really move my hands so far because it's an intricate shape. Anyway, so the paint runs on the side, but you know, I'm going to have some details on the side, so I don't think it's really going to, you know, show up that much. And there is a lot of, like, you know, the bearing block and everything, so it's going to be a really busy area of the loco, so I don't think that it's going to be really noticeable. But I managed to get paint on every single side and then on the inside, and everything looked good, even though it was sort of late in the afternoon. It was getting a little bit dark. I couldn't really see really good what I'm doing, but when I looked at it the other day, it was really good. And then, as I said, I wanted to paint the other side of the main body. And also when I was painting the bogie, I noticed that something is getting a little bit odd, and I wasn't sure what it is, because then the gun started to spray you know, like on and off. So it was, the paint was coming, and I thought maybe because I'm running low on paint in the reservoir, but actually I had plenty of paint. And I was like, at some point I thought that maybe I have some vacuum or pressure issues. And I noticed, well, I didn't really notice, but I just unscrewed the cap on the reservoir, and then everything was spraying just perfectly. And I think this was done because that you know, there is this small cap on the top that you open up to let the air in, so it doesn't create a vacuum inside the reservoir, and that got plugged up, and obviously the gun could not suck more you know, paint, and this is why it wasn't spraying correctly. So now the flow was good. Actually, the flow was awesome. I had loads of paint. I didn't feel that the compressor had to work really hard to get enough pressure, because that pressure was sufficient and I was getting paint all over the place. So I quickly painted the you know, the main body. And actually, the things that I haven't recorded, this was all done on today's Wednesday, so this was all done on Tuesday, and I had so much luck and I was so happy with the end result. Then, and the weather was really good, so the paint was already drying within 24 hours. So today I just decided to get all my stuff out again, and I mixed another batch of paint, and I have given a second coat to everything. So the video that you are seeing is only after the first coat, but now I have sprayed the second coat on, and I consider all the black painting to be completed. And I've also created these shots here where you know, seeing the end result from a close-up, and yeah, it looks good. And it's funny, it's I've oversprayed some of the existing paint on the main chassis, and you can still see this texture. If you remember, this texture is because previously I haven't used enough thinner, so the paint gun had a lot of trouble getting the really thick paint out. So this is, it became like a speckled, which actually I quite like. And then sometimes you can see that on the top of the chassis there are these blocks, because I was doing all this painting upside down, and that's where those are the wooden blocks that the whole chassis was resting on. So that's the part that didn't get any exposure to that speckled paint, and this is why it has received the coat that I was just doing now, which was, you know, properly thinned and everything was fine. So that is a nice shiny surface. as opposed to the rest of the speckled surface. But anyway, that's going to be the inside, and this is going to get the engine green color as a top coat. That's going to be the final coat on it, so that's not going to stay black anyway. And I think the way the bogies turned out is also quite good. Obviously, when I given it the second coat, I was turning it upside down. So I've taken all these wires off and I feed it into the holes on the next side, because obviously I can spray much better from top to down instead of from down trying to spray up. So I wanted to get the most even coverage as possible. So this is why I was spraying the second coat on the other direction. And yeah, and that's it. So I am quite happy now that after sort of like, this is the third coat that I'm doing on this loco, I'm starting to remember all the steps. I remember not to mess with the dials and the knobs on the spray gun because it looks good. So I just have to remember to use a proper amount of thinner, and I also have to take care of the vacuum in the paint reservoir, just to make sure that either I have the lid on, and whenever I wash up everything, that lid is getting cleaned and that small hole is getting that's still a hole that's not plugged up. So I'm quite looking forward to the next few paints. So I still have I think one coat of the engine green on the insides, and then I have to get 3 more paints, because the top is going to be gray, and then the main engine body is going to have two-tone livery. I think I mentioned this before. So this is the cream and the navy blue, not navy blue, it's another blue, which is the usual, well, usually not usual, German Rheingold livery. So that's how the loco is going to look like. And I think I also need a couple of, maybe a can of silver, because the plaques are going to be painted silver. So those are 3D printed parts that I have already. So whether I'm going to create a video on this, well, I'm not sure yet. Maybe I will do, maybe I will not. But that could be the next video, or if not, maybe the next video is going to be some assembly or doing some electronics. We'll see. But that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video.